The shift you can't ignore. Something is happening to you, and you can feel it. Not slowly, not gradually, but all at once. Like something inside, your body is waking up without your permission. You thought it was just stress, just exhaustion, just another phase. But deep down, you know that's not true. Because this feels different. This feels like something is activating inside you. Your sleep is changing, your thoughts are changing. Even your reactions, they don't feel like they used to. It's like your old self is quietly fading away. And something new is taking its place overnight. Listen carefully. This is not random. This is not accidental. This is what happens when a chosen one begins to shift. When your body starts responding differently. At first, it confuses you. Your body doesn't feel the same anymore. You get tired at unusual times, yet wide awake when the world sleeps. Your energy spikes without warning, then drops just as quickly. And no matter how much you try to explain it, nothing fully makes sense. But this isn't weakness. This is your system recalibrating. Your body is responding to a deeper awareness. It's trying to align with something greater than what you've known. And that process, it doesn't feel comfortable. Because growth never does. The silent detachment. You start pulling away without even trying. Things you once enjoyed don't excite you anymore. Conversations feel empty. People you once connected with now feel distant. And it scares you at first. You wonder if something is wrong with you. But the truth is, you're not losing connection. You're outgrowing it. Your mind is no longer satisfied with surface-level living. Your spirit is demanding something deeper. And your body is following that command. Why you feel like you don't belong anymore. There comes a moment where you look around, and everything feels unfamiliar. The same places, the same people, the same routines. But something inside you whispers, this isn't where you're meant to stay. And that feeling, it doesn't go away. Because you were never designed to blend in. You were never meant to stay comfortable. Chosen ones don't fit into the world easily. They question it. They challenge it. And because of that, they often walk alone. The pressure you can't explain. There's a weight you carry. And no one else seems to understand it. It's not physical. It's something deeper. A constant pressure to become more. To do more. To step into something you can't even fully define yet. And some days it feels overwhelming. You try to ignore it. You try to distract yourself. But it always comes back. Because that pressure is purpose trying to break through. The world will try to silence you. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. When you start changing, not everyone will support it. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some will try to pull you back into who you used to be. Not because they hate you, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. You remind them of what they're avoiding. And instead of rising with you, they try to keep you where they are. That's why chosen ones often feel misunderstood. Because they see what others refuse to see. The overnight transformation is real. This isn't a slow process. There are moments where everything changes overnight. Your mindset shifts. Your priorities shift. Even your identity begins to shift. And you wake up feeling like a different person. Not completely, but enough to know something major has happened. That's the moment most people panic. But chosen ones, that's the moment they begin to understand. Your body is adapting to a new version of you. Your body isn't breaking down. It's upgrading. It's learning how to handle a higher level of awareness. a deeper level of thinking. And that takes energy. That takes adjustment. That's why you feel off sometimes. That's why things feel intense. Because you're not who you used to be anymore. And your body is catching up to that reality. The inner voice gets louder. You start hearing it more clearly now. That voice inside you. The one that tells you when something feels wrong. The one that pushes you when you want to stay comfortable. Before you ignored it. Now you can't. Because it's not just a thought anymore. It feels like guidance. And the more you listen, the stronger it becomes. You start seeing through everything. Lies become obvious. Fake energy becomes obvious. You start reading between the lines, even when people say all the right things. And it changes how you move. You become more aware, more selective, more intentional. Not because you want to be distant, but because you can't ignore what you see anymore. The isolation phase. This is the part most people don't talk about. The loneliness. The feeling of being disconnected from everything. Even when you're surrounded by people. It's heavy, but it's necessary. Because isolation isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's where clarity is built. It's where strength is developed. And most importantly, it's where you meet your real self. You are not losing yourself. It might feel like it sometimes. Like everything you knew about yourself is slipping away. But you're not losing who you are. You're shedding who you were never meant to stay. In that process, it feels uncomfortable because it's real. Because it matters. Because it's changing you at your core. This is why it feels so intense. Transformation isn't gentle. It's disruptive. It breaks patterns. It destroys comfort zones. And it forces you to confront parts of yourself you've been avoiding for a long time. That's why it feels overwhelming. But that intensity, it's a sign that something powerful is happening. The moment everything starts making sense, there will be a moment where everything clicks, where all the confusion, all the discomfort, all the pressure finally makes sense. And you realize nothing was random. Every feeling, every shift, every moment of isolation, it was all leading you here. You were never like everyone else. Think about it. You've always felt different. Even before all of this started. You saw things differently. Felt things more deeply. And maybe you tried to hide it. Maybe you tried to fit in. But deep down, you always knew. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. This is your turning point. Right now you have a choice. You can ignore what's happening. Try to go back to who you were. Or you can accept it. Step into it. And allow yourself to become who you're meant to be. Because this moment, it won't come again in the same way. You are stronger than you think. You've made it this far. Through confusion. Through doubt. Through moments where you felt completely lost. And you're still here. That alone proves something. You're stronger than you realize. And whatever is happening inside you, you are capable of handling it. Embrace the change. Stop fighting it. Stop questioning every shift. Not everything needs to be understood immediately. Some things need to be experienced. And this transformation, it's one of them. Let it happen. Trust it. Grow with it. If this message reached you, it wasn't by accident. Something inside you needed to hear this. So don't ignore it. If you feel this shift happening, drop a comment below and say, I feel it. Let it be known that you're not running from this anymore. Like this video if you're ready to embrace who you're becoming, and if you're serious about your awakening. Subscribe to Return to Awakening, because this is only the beginning, the energy shift you can't escape. There are moments now where your entire energy changes without warning. You walk into a room and instantly feel everything. The tension, the negativity, the hidden emotions, even the things people try to hide. And it overwhelms you sometimes, because you weren't always like this. But now, it's like your awareness has expanded beyond control. You don't just see anymore. You feel. And once that ability awakens, it never goes back to sleep. Your tolerance is disappearing. You've noticed it, haven't you? Things you used to tolerate, you can't anymore. Fake conversations drain you. Pointless drama irritates you. Environments that once felt normal now feel heavy. And people start noticing the change. They say you've become different. Too quiet, too distant, too serious. But what they don't understand is, you've just stopped accepting what doesn't align with you anymore. This isn't attitude. This is awareness. The pull towards something greater. There's something calling you. You can't see it. You can't fully explain it. But you feel it. A pull towards something bigger than your current life. Something that demands more from you. And it doesn't leave you alone. Even when you try to ignore it. It keeps pulling. Because it's not coming from the outside. It's coming from within you. And the more you resist it, the stronger it becomes. Why rest feels different now. Even your rest doesn't feel the same anymore. You sleep, but wake up feeling like you've been somewhere else. Like your mind was working, even while your body was still. Dreams feel more intense, more vivid, almost like messages you're trying to understand. And sometimes, you wake up with clarity you didn't have before. That's not random. Your mind is processing at a deeper level now. Your awareness doesn't switch off anymore. It continues even when your body rests. You're becoming more selective with everything. Your time matters more now. Your energy matters more now. You don't give it away as easily. You think before you speak. You observe before you trust. And you walk away from things you once would have chased. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. Because you've realized something powerful. Not everything deserves access to you. And that realization changes everything. The inner conflict you feel. Part of you wants to grow, but another part of you feels scared of what that growth requires. Because growth means letting go. Letting go of people. Letting go of habits. Letting go of versions of yourself that feel familiar. And that creates conflict inside you. You feel pulled in two directions. One toward comfort, and one toward transformation. And the tension between them. It's exhausting, but necessary. You start questioning everything. Nothing feels automatic anymore. You question your decisions, your surroundings, even your purpose. Things that once felt certain now feel unclear. And that uncertainty can be unsettling. But this isn't confusion. This is awareness expanding beyond old limitations. You're no longer accepting things at face value. You're searching for truth. And that search, it changes the way you see everything. Your silence becomes powerful. You don't feel the need to explain yourself anymore. You don't argue like you used to. You don't try to convince people to understand you. Because you've realized, not everyone is meant to understand you. And that's okay. Your silence becomes your strength. You observe more than you speak. You move with intention instead of reaction. And that quiet confidence, it sets you apart. The feeling that something big is coming. There's a sense of anticipation building inside you. Like something is about to change. You don't know when. You don't know how. But you feel it. A shift on the horizon. And it creates a strange mix of emotions. Excitement, nervousness, curiosity. Because deep down, you know your life isn't going to stay the same. And part of you is ready for that. Even if another part of you is unsure. You're breaking out of old patterns. Habits that once controlled you are losing their grip. You start noticing your behaviors more clearly. The patterns, the cycles. And for the first time, you feel the power to change them. Not instantly, but consciously. And that awareness alone is the beginning of freedom. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you recognize it, you can choose differently. The weight of clarity. Clarity sounds like a blessing until you actually experience it. Because once you see things clearly, you can't pretend anymore. You can't go back to ignorance. You can't ignore what feels wrong. And that awareness, it comes with weight. You start noticing things in people, in situations, in yourself, that you once overlooked. And while it empowers you, it also isolates you. Because not everyone is ready to see what you see. Your emotions are deeper now. You don't feel things halfway anymore. Everything hits deeper. Happiness feels more meaningful. Pain feels more intense. Even small moments carry more weight than they used to. And sometimes it feels overwhelming. Like your heart is carrying more than it should. But this depth, it's not a weakness. It's awareness expanding into feeling. You're no longer numb to life. You're experiencing it fully. The need for solitude. You crave silence now. Not because you hate people, but because noise drains you. You need space to think, space to process, space to just be. And when you don't get it, you feel off, restless, irritated, because your mind isn't the same anymore. It needs time to recalibrate. Solitude becomes your reset, not your escape, but your necessity. You start trusting yourself more. There was a time when you doubted your instincts, when you second-guessed your decisions. But now, something has shifted. You feel more certain, not about everything, but about what feels right and what doesn't. And that trust, it changes how you move. You stop seeking constant validation. You stop relying on others to confirm your path. Because you realize you already know more than you thought. The fear of outgrowing people. This is one of the hardest parts. Realizing that not everyone can come with you. Some people were meant for a chapter, not the whole story. And accepting that, it hurts. Because you care. Because you remember what those connections meant to you. But growth, it requires honesty. And sometimes that honesty says, you're no longer aligned. Not out of hate, but out of evolution. You begin to move differently. Your actions change. Not dramatically at first, but subtly. You think before reacting. You pause before responding. You observe more than you speak. And people notice it. They can't always explain it, but they feel the shift in you. Because you're no longer operating on impulse. You're moving with awareness. And that changes everything. the pressure to step into your purpose, that feeling inside you. It doesn't fade. It grows, a constant reminder that you're meant for something more. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier it feels, because purpose doesn't disappear. It waits, and it pushes, until you either face it or spend your life wondering, what if? And deep down, you know you can't ignore it forever. You're no longer attracted to the same life. The life you once imagined doesn't excite you the same way anymore. Your desires are changing. What you want, what you value, what you're willing to accept, it's all shifting. And it can feel confusing, because you're letting go of old dreams before fully understanding the new ones. But that's part of the process. You're not losing direction. You're redefining it. The feeling of being watched or tested. Sometimes it feels like life is watching you, testing you, putting you in situations just to see how you'll respond. And the patterns are too precise to ignore. The same lessons, in different forms, over and over again, until you finally respond differently, until you finally grow. And once you do, the pattern breaks, and something new begins. You start noticing synchronicity. Things start lining up in ways you can't explain. You think about something, and suddenly it appears. You need an answer, and it finds you, at the right time, in the right moment, through the right situation. And it makes you pause, because it feels too precise to be random, too aligned to be coincidence. It feels like you're being guided, even if you don't fully understand how. The discomfort of outgrowing your old identity. There comes a moment where you don't recognize yourself the same way anymore. Not physically, but internally. Your thoughts have changed. Your reactions have changed. Even the way you see the world. It feels unfamiliar. And that can be unsettling, because part of you wants to hold on to who you were. But another part of you knows you can't go back, because you've already seen too much, felt too much, grown too much. The quiet confidence building inside you. It's not loud. It doesn't need attention. But it's there. A quiet confidence that you didn't have before. You stop trying to prove yourself. You stop chasing validation, because something inside you knows you don't need to. And that energy, it's different. People feel it, even if you don't say a word. Because real confidence doesn't announce itself. It simply exists. You start letting go without explanation. You don't over-explain anymore. You don't force closure. You don't chase understanding from others. You just let go. Quietly, without drama, without needing anyone to agree with your decision. And that's new for you. Because before, you needed answers. Now, you accept what is, and move forward anyway. The shift in what you value, things that once seemed important, start losing their meaning. Status, approval, external validation. They don't hold the same weight anymore. Instead, you start valuing peace, clarity, authenticity. You choose environments that feel right over ones that just look right. And that shift, it changes your entire direction. Because you're no longer chasing appearances. You're choosing alignment. You become harder to distract. Distractions don't work on you like they used to. You see through them. You recognize when something is pulling you away from your focus. And instead of getting lost in it, you pull yourself back, again and again, because your awareness is sharper now. You know what matters, and you're not willing to lose yourself in things that don't. The internal reset happening within you. It feels like everything inside you is being reorganized. Your thoughts, your emotions, your priorities. Nothing is staying the same. And while that can feel chaotic, there's a deeper order forming beneath it. A reset, stripping away what doesn't belong, and rebuilding what does. It's not random. It's intentional, even if you don't fully understand it yet. You start an OTICING who really supports you. When you chain, people reveal themselves. Some support you, quietly, consistently. Others distance themselves, or question you, or try to bring you back to your old self. And it hurts at first, but it also brings clarity, because now you see who aligns with your growth and who was only comfortable with your past. You no longer fear being alone. At one point, loneliness scared you. The idea of being by yourself felt heavy, but now something has shifted. You're starting to find peace in your own presence. You don't need constant noise, constant attention, because you've learned something powerful. Your own company is enough. And once you reach that point, you stop settling for anything that disturbs your peace. The sense that time is moving differently. Time feels strange now. Some moments feel faster. Others feel slower. Days blur together. Yet certain experiences feel deeply intense, like they carry more meaning than they should. It's like you're becoming more aware of time itself, more conscious of how you spend it. Because deep down, you feel that something important is unfolding, and you don't want to waste the time you've been given. You're stepping into a new version of yourself. This isn't just change. This is transformation. A shift from who you were to who you're becoming. And that transition, it's not smooth. It's uncomfortable, uncertain, sometimes even overwhelming. But it's real, and it's happening whether you're ready or not. The question is, will you resist it, or will you rise with it the moment you realize you can't go back? There's a breaking point in this journey, a quiet, undeniable realization that the old version of you is gone. Not damaged, not lost, just finished. And no matter how much you try to revisit it, it doesn't fit anymore. The mindset feels too small. The habits feel forced. The life you once lived feels distant. And that's when it hits you. This change isn't temporary. This is who you're becoming. The invisible separation. It's not always dramatic. No big arguments. No clear endings. Just a gradual distance. You stop reaching out as much. They stop understanding you as deeply. And without a single conversation, everything changes. That's the invisible separation, where connections fade, not because of conflict, but because of misalignment. And even though it's quiet, it still leaves an impact. You start protecting your energy. You become careful, not fearful, but intentional. You pay attention to how people make you feel, how environments affect your state of mind, and you adjust accordingly. You leave places sooner. You speak less in draining conversations. You create distance when something feels off, because you've learned the hard way. Energy is not something you can afford to waste anymore. The urge to rebuild your life, There's a strong pull now to change everything. Your routine, your environment, even your direction. And it might feel sudden, but it's been building for a long time. This isn't an impulse. It's clarity finally rising to the surface. A realization that where you are is no longer where you're meant to stay. And that realization, it demands action. You become more disciplined without forcing it. Discipline starts to come naturally. Not perfectly, but consistently. You begin choosing what's right over what's easy. You catch yourself before falling into old habits. You redirect your focus when distractions appear. And it's not because someone told you to. It's because you want better for yourself. Because you see the bigger picture now. And once you see it, you can't ignore it. The emotional release you don't expect. Out of nowhere, you feel waves of emotion. Old memories resurface. Feelings you thought you buried come back. And it catches you off guard. Because you thought you were past it. But this isn't regression. It's release. Your mind is clearing space. Letting go of what you've been holding onto. Sometimes without even realizing it. And yes, it's uncomfortable. But it's necessary. Because you can't carry everything into your next phase. You stop seeking permission. There was a time when you waited for approval, for someone to tell you, you're ready, you're doing the right thing. But now, you don't wait anymore. You decide. You move, even if you're unsure, because you've realized something important. No one else can validate a path that was meant for you. That authority, it comes from within. The feeling of being rebuilt from within. It's not just mental. It's deeper than that. It feels like something inside you is being reconstructed. Your perspective, your reactions, your emotional strength, all being reshaped. And sometimes it feels like everything is falling apart. But in reality, it's being rebuilt. Stronger, clearer, more aligned. Piece by piece, you begin to embrace the unknown. Before, you needed certainty, a clear plan, a predictable path. But now, you're learning to move without having all the answers. To trust the process, even when you can't see the outcome. And that's not easy. But it's growth. Because real transformation, it doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with faith in your ability to handle whatever comes next. You realize this was always meant to happen. Looking back, the signs were always there. The discomfort, the questioning, the feeling of being different. It didn't start now. It's just becoming clearer now. And when you connect the dots, you see it. This wasn't random. This wasn't sudden. This has been building your entire life, leading you to this exact moment, where everything begins to make sense, and everything starts to change, the strange calm after the chaos, after everything you felt, the confusion, the pressure, the emotional waves. There comes a calm, not the kind that makes everything perfect, but the kind that makes everything clear. You stop panicking. You stop overthinking every shift. And instead, you begin to accept it. That calm doesn't mean the journey is over. It means you've stopped fighting it. You start seeing your past differently. Things that once hurt you start to make sense. Not in a way that excuses them, but in a way that explains them. You begin to see how every experience shaped you. Every setback, every disappointment. It all played a role. And instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You start asking, what did this prepare me for? And that shift in perspective, it changes how you carry your past. The power of your presence increases. You don't have to say much anymore. People feel you. Your presence becomes noticeable. Not because you demand attention, but because your energy is different. Grounded, aware, unshaken, and even when you're silent, you influence the environment around you. Because real power, it doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. You stop chasing and start attracting. Before, you chased opportunities. You chased validation. You chased people. But now, something changes. You focus on yourself, your growth, your alignment, and suddenly, things start coming to you. Opportunities, connections, clarity, not because you forced it, but because you became aligned with it. The deep knowing you can't explain. There's something inside you now. A knowing, not based on proof, not based on logic, but something deeper. You feel when something is right. You feel when something is off. And that feeling, it's accurate more often than you expected. It guides you, even when you can't explain why. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. You become comfortable with being misunderstood. Not everyone will get you. Not everyone will agree with you. And for the first time, you're okay with that. You stop trying to shrink yourself to fit into other people's understanding. You stop explaining your growth to people who aren't on the same level. Because you've realized being understood by everyone is not the goal. Being true to yourself is. The detachment from OUTCOMES. You still care. You still put in effort. But you're no longer attached to how everything turns out. You do your part and let go of the rest because you understand now. You can't control everything, and trying to only drains you. So instead, you focus on what you can control. Your actions, your mindset, your direction, and you trust the process beyond that. You start living more intentionally. Nothing feels random anymore. Your choices have purpose. Your time has value. You think about how you spend your days, who you spend them with, and whether it aligns with who you're becoming. You stop living on autopilot. You start living with awareness. And that shift, it changes the quality of your life. Because intention creates direction. The final layer of doubt. Even after all this growth, doubt still shows up. Quietly, asking questions, creating hesitation. Are you really ready? Are you sure about this? And for a moment, you feel it again. That uncertainty. But this time, you don't let it control you. You recognize it, and you move forward anyway. Because courage isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to keep going despite it. You are becoming unrecognizable to your old self. If the old version of you could see you now, they wouldn't fully recognize you. Not because you've changed completely, but because you've evolved. Your mindset is stronger. Your awareness is deeper. Your standards are higher. And the things that once controlled you no longer have that power. You've outgrown them. And this version of you is just the beginning of what you're capable of becoming.